What's up?
I don't know. Parking and getting here was really, really difficult. Really wish I had a TARDIS that I could just materialize over here in this corner.
I mean, I just kind of wish I had a TARDIS in general.
That would be great. I can
Because-
erase all of my past mistakes.
Well, let me add a caveat to that.
Okay.
A TARDIS I don't have to fix as often as I have to fix my car.
Oh yeah, you and your car problems,
It's been rough. I don't know. Like you can probably see it here, but I got a little sunburnt. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah.
And it's just starting to peel up. So when I got out of the shower this morning, it was kind of
Nice.
gross.
So just in time to get sunburned at Comic-Con
Right?
next week.
Right?
Or, well, in like 3 days. Actually.
Well, I'm probably gonna be stuck indoors for most of it.
Oh, even
But
better because
that's fine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be at the Bayfront.
Yeah, but if any of you guys are curious, we are going to be at Comic-Con. That hashtag show will hopefully be covering a lot of stuff, and you can meet probably the whole cast.
Yeah.
and-
Well, if you're at Comic-Con. If you're not at Comic-Con, you won't be able to meet anyone because, you're not there.
Yeah, you want to be where the people are. It's going to be in San Diego.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk to you today about Doctor Who. We are on the second season, the third episode called Tooth and Claw.
So I was confused about this.
All right.
Because last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess
Yeah.
it was, when you and Daniel were covering it, I was looking at episode 2,
Yes.
which officially is this one.
Oh, interesting.
So the first episode
because the Christmas
was
episode
the Christmas episode.
doesn't technically fall
right,
into the
but
season.
but on Amazon, the Christmas episode is listed as episode 1.
Oh, that's
So
kind of
I got so confused when I was trying to
Okay.
find everything for it. And then when you told me episode 3, I was like, crap, I've got to watch 3 episodes today.
Oh,
And I
no.
didn't think I was going to get caught up. But then after I looked at the names and description for everything, I was like, nope, I'm right.
Yeah,
So I
you
was
are
good.
right.
I was good.
Like Amazon does put the Christmas episode into that next season as like
Yeah.
the first episode, which kind of makes sense. Kind of, it's our first David Tennant.
Yeah, either
episode,
as the first episode of this season or the last episode of the previous
Yeah.
season. Either way, it kind of makes sense. I think it was Netflix used to have it as its own thing.
their own special,
Yeah.
like off to the side. But yeah, we are talking about Tooth and Claw. Right?
I like the name.
I do too. So it talks about werewolves, which I think is kind of interesting in our whole sci-fi fantasy genre and Victorian kind of England.
Yeah, because I like sci-fi stories that don't necessarily take place in the future.
Yeah.
And Doctor Who does a good job of kind of going back and forth with all that.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of fun. Like, I don't know, like, we're ignorant Americans, so maybe, like, we're just like, oh, this is kind of, like, fun. We're learning history through, like, TV. I don't know how accurate it is, or, like, if she did any of these things. Did she actually have a diamond? Is that, like, part of the mystery? Or...
That I don't know. I know the We Are Not Amused thing is a thing.
It is. Like, I only know that because my mom used to say, and I told you guys earlier, where it's like, my mom always used to say, I'm not amused. And I never knew where that came from. And, like... Does Queen Victoria actually say that? Is that like a thing that like went down in history where she was known for saying that phrase?
I guess that's kind of like the let them eat cake because like that was a thing.
But like Marie Antoinette, I don't think ever actually said let them eat cake, and it was just something that kind of got randomly like introduced
I don't know.
into our.
I wasn't around back then.
All right, that is a good answer. But if any of you guys in the chat happen to know this, like, or want to
Matthew
Google it,
Thompson should know.
Matthew Thompson.
If anyone in the chat knows, Matthew Thompson should know. And if you don't, I'm very disappointed in you.
Yeah, your hair holds a lot of secrets. I can tell. You should know.
Yeah. So, what did you think about this episode?
It started off a little weird to me with the whole Shaolin martial arts warriors that happened to be protecting a werewolf. Like, I thought it was going in a very different direction from when it was introduced to, like, where it happened. And I don't know why that is a part of it. I think that was my biggest, like, why? Why do they have to be, like, these Shaolin monks with martial arts and...
Something that just kind of popped into my head.
Okay.
How long did this come out after Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
That is a good question.
So this episode aired, looks like, in April of 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, April 2006. And my trusty Google machine here.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird that we're in Victorian England and
that was 2000, so that was like a good 6 years before that.
Well, they had to train all of these guys to actually do it.
Right,
you know,
right.
Just for this.
Not just anyone can hover in the air like that.
Yeah, it's true. It was really interesting. It's a weird juxtaposition of like, east and western, but I don't know. I feel
Right.
like it didn't really add anything to the story. I feel like why weren't they like knights or like any other
Right.
protectors?
I mean, I've seen enough Doctor Who to know that they just kind of throw random stuff in there just to
Okay.
kind of throw random things in there.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It does make it a little more entertaining, and you know.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, okay, well, this fits with the time period. It's what weird thing can we stick in here that kind of works and makes it not seem like it's something normal.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. And then we get the whole warlock guy
Mm-hmm.
from Game of Thrones, who is also like the lead, I don't know, martial arts werewolf guy.
Yeah?
I don't even know what
But
it's
none of
called.
them were werewolves.
They weren't, but they're like trying to make it so werewolves will spread through the blood.
Yeah, I don't... Even though they themselves, like, were protecting themselves from
Yeah.
the werewolves. Like, it was like, okay, we want the royal family to be werewolves, but we don't want to be werewolves ourselves.
Was there any reason? And like, oh my god, this guy like doesn't age, or was he just typecasted to have no eyebrows and no hair? And this is like every single role he has to play, like from
Well-
Doctor Who to Game of Thrones. It's
Well,
like-
again, this was 2006.
Yes.
So this was probably shot in 2005. This was season 3 of Game of Thrones, I think,
Give or
somewhere
take,
around there.
yeah.
So that would have been around 2009,
Yeah.
2010 that was shot. So, I mean, he's not that far. Like he wouldn't have aged that much in those 3 years.
I guess that's true, but it's like you're exactly kind of like the same character dealing
Yeah.
with like mysticism and all of this other stuff.
More or less,
and
his eyes are kind of more like
Yeah.
baggy there.
they are. They did hollow out his image a little
Yeah.
bit, but I don't know. It was like a weird thing rewatching this because I do remember this episode, but I don't have like super fond memories of it. And I feel like the big thing in here is I like that everyone hates Rose. Like Queen Victoria was like, "I'm done with your shit, you naked child. Like, why are you here?"
So Matthew Thompson does have an answer.
Okay.
He says, legend has it that at a dinner party, a man was telling a story about a poor people and how he was treating them. And Queen Victoria said, "We are not amused," essentially owning the guy. However, the dude claims to not have been at the party, and many other accounts say that he wasn't there either, meaning that the story was just made up. But who knows?
Hey, well, good for her to be like, shame on you for talking shit to the poor people. Like, I'm rich, but
Yeah.
I'm not a dick about it. It makes me like Queen Victoria a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, if I was rich, I'd probably be a dick, though.
You know, yeah.
Just,
I probably will
I
lean
mean,
into that a little bit more. if I
just
was
because,
so
like,
rich.
I feel like that's how I need to be.
Oh, like the...
So society expects me to be a dick, so who am I to let them down?
Okay, well, I would want to take Queen Victoria's path, but I mean, I can't argue with that either because there is that expectation. already
Social
set up.
pressure.
But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, everything else was kind of... It was fun. It was, like, weird and fanciful. and...
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the episode in general.
Yeah, and the whole
Like,
thing
I
with
liked...
mistletoe breaking down werewolves and they can't get in.
See,
is
I
that
didn't
part
under-
of the culture?
I don't know. I've never heard that before. But
Oh.
like mistletoe, I would have thought that would have been more something that they would have saved for a Christmas episode because
Right? Or-
mistletoe,
Right, and then Santa comes down and saves everybody.
right?
But
Like Santa Claus was really a werewolf hunter.
that would have
That-
been super fun.
I probably would have liked that a little bit more. Like I don't think I didn't like the story in this episode. I think the episode was just too slow.
It was, and like, I guess I didn't understand the motivations of the monks or whatever you want to call them. They were like, we want to bring werewolf blood into the royal bloodline, and at the end, based off of the conversation between the Doctor and Rose, it kind of seems like their goal was accomplished.
Right.
You know, so what does that mean, and why did they want to do that, and to what ends would that help them or protect them from anything?
Right, because like we don't know whether they could actually control the werewolf or not.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like they
So-
couldn't, which is why he's in a cage in
Right,
the first
because
place, right?
if they could have controlled the werewolf, then that would have made sense because it would have been like, okay, we're using the werewolves because we know how to control them, so we'll be able to rule the British Empire because we'll run the guy who's in charge. But from what we saw, that wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, and it's like the spirit that was inside of the wolf's body that was some alien life form anyway that was like, please kill me. Oh
Yeah.
man, I wish I had my Meeseeks cup because that would be a really good thing right now.
I mean,
but-
for me, it was kind of like Stargate, like the original Stargate movie with the alien that had taken over the dude's body, but was really a parasite.
See, I have no reference for Stargate, but yes, that does sound like this is...
Yeah, well, that's what it looked like here. Was that the alien werewolf was a parasite that just kind of latched onto this guy, but I don't know, maybe the guy was turned into a werewolf. He wasn't really.
Yeah, I don't know, because they're talking about the stories too, where they don't want the man of the house to relay any of like the stories that he's heard about werewolves and all this other stuff, which makes me think that what he knows is true, and that they every so many years a boy goes missing and they kidnap him and train him to be this thing. So is it like a lineage thing? I don't know.
I don't. It was all.
Confused.
Yeah, it was just all kind of muddled.
Yeah, like they threw a little too many different elements in there, and it just.
I don't think this was one of the better fleshed out storylines from the show, where they were just kind of like, okay, we're gonna put a werewolf into 19th century England and let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll throw in some martial arts, we'll throw in some aliens, and it'll just kind of work itself out. They were able to put in some really good like little breadcrumbs or like I guess Easter eggs, like rewatching it. But the whole thing with the wolf guy, I don't remember his name. I don't remember anyone's name in this episode. But coming up and looking at Rose and being like, oh, you've seen it. Like, you're a wolf too. Or something like that. Which is going to play out later. And, like, they've been building up Rose as a bad wolf. It's written all over the place. So I was like, oh, that's a fun little thing.
And I guess, see, I don't know. Maybe the main point of this episode is more Torchwood. And less everything else. Yeah. Because, again, this episode aired in April of 2006, which was the season before Torchwood started. Because Torchwood started in October of 2006.
Oh, okay. So they're really trying to buff that up because there's like really blatant references, because especially at the end of this.
If I remember correctly, the end of this season was the season was where the Torchwood Tower had the Cybermen attack.
Oh, maybe is it this season?
I don't. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
If not, as we watch through, we'll probably bring that in more.
I think it was because that wasn't that how Torchwood the series started.
It probably did.
Because
it's been a really long time.
Because Torchwood burned down or whatever, so they needed to bring new people in, and that's kind of like how Evie came into it.
I mean, that makes sense, and it's like, I don't know, it was interesting watching this since I never rewatched any Doctor Who to remember that Queen Victoria is the one that first instated the Torchwood Institute, and she was like, oh, we're not gonna let. Oh, you are correct.
Okay.
We got confirmation from our producer. You're absolutely correct. That is how Torchwood does start. So,
Well, no, that's how the season ends.
The season ends? Is that? But that leads right into like the Torchwood.
By them invading Torchwood Institute.
Yeah.
That was in July.
But yeah, I mean, it's super fun how they're trying to work their way into Torchwood. I don't know if that's just trying to like build it up more and create more hype for the show.
Scroll through the episodes here.
Torchwood started in October.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of makes sense to slowly build it. Was there I wonder if there was a big advertising campaign already for Torchwood at this time, like leading up. It's a little bit early.
I think it had been announced.
Okay, so that's fun for the Doctor Who fans, knowing that you're going to try to get into this parallel series, building it in, weaving it in. That's kind of the best way, kind of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Marvel movies, where you want one to watch the other and the other to watch, So, kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So the last episode, it was the 2-part episodes. The last episode of the season is Doomsday, where the Daleks and the Cybermen and Torchwood battle in Canary Wharf, the first Dalek Cybermen encounter in Conflict 43. Yeah. So yes, I was right.
All right, gold star for you today. If only you can use those to pay off your car.
I mean, my car's been paid off for like 6 years now.
Or get a new one.
That would be getting a new car. So here's completely off topic.
Okay.
What kind of car do you have?
I have a 2008 Hyundai Elantra.
Okay, so I have a 2007 Scion TC.
Okay.
When I bought it, it had 4 miles on it. 3 of those miles were from my test drive. So it was
like brand new.
So it was brand new when I got it. Now I am about 3,500 miles away from hitting 200,000 miles.
Ooh, that's a lot of miles in that car.
Right. So over the course of time that I've had it, it's worked pretty well. But I've replaced the engine, and now I've replaced the alternator. This is the 3rd alternator that I've had in there.
Jeez.
And I mean the brakes and general maintenance and all that kind of stuff is whatever. But I want to get a new car because I've had this one, for 12 years now. I want to get a 2020 just to own a car that's like model year 2020.
So you have a car from the 20s is what you can kind of say.
Right.
Yeah.
But is that That's a stupid reason to buy a car, though, isn't it?
But also, you do need a new car.
I do need a new car.
Your car has a lot of
But I don't
damage and
necessarily
a lot
need.
of miles.
But I don't necessarily need a new car.
You
I
can
mean, I
get-
need a new to me car.
Yeah, a new old car would also.
Right. But I want one that's like if I want to buy, if I'm gonna get something new, I kind of feel like I just want to get something new that's 2020,
Well,
because I just it's stupid.
Well, if you guys out there in the chat want to support Josh's dream to have a car from 2020, go ahead and send us some super chats.
Or you can find me on Venmo and PayPal. Or coming soon, you might be able to. Actually, you can find me on GoFundMe from like 3 years ago when I was in Sarajevo and I dropped my phone and my gimbal out the 8th story window of my hotel.
What? How does that even happen? What? You don't deserve nice things, Josh. Is what I'm learning.
I was trying to get a time lapse of a storm that was coming in over the mountains,
Oh my god.
and I put the gimbal in the window, and I turned around to get something to brace it there so that it wouldn't fall out. And as I turned around, it fell out.
The more you know. Don't leave your special, super expensive equipment in a storm on a ledge without securing it
Right.
first.
I mean, the gimbal was kind of whatever. The phone was a bigger pain in the ass because now I didn't have a phone to call an Uber when I got to the airport when I got home.
Oh god. Well,
I got it replaced 2 days later though, so it was fine.
but still, what a pain. So, you need more than a TARDIS, my friend.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
but that would solve all problems.
but we digress.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Doctor Who.
Yeah, because honestly, this episode of Doctor Who I didn't think was super interesting other than the Easter eggs that it brought up, and I like the Queen Victoria. Like, I am not amused, but that's my own personal reasons.
Yeah, I thought the gag with Rose trying to get her to say we are not amused throughout the episode, that was fun, but it didn't really pay off until the end, and the payoff was just kind of lackluster to me.
Yeah, it was, and like it shows Rose having like the worst timing, and even Queen Victoria's like, now's not the time, you psycho naked child.
But that's why we all hate Rose.
It's true. If anyone likes Rose, every week I say this, but please let me know if you like Rose, the reasons why. Like, I hate on her quite a lot. I find her to be incredibly annoying. Not funny.
So I watched I had to catch up before this episode, so I'd watched New Earth right before I watched Tooth and Claw, which I thought was a far superior episode.
Of course, because it has a lot of playbacks too. So.
But I liked Rose as Cassandra.
Yes.
So
me
so
too.
so
That is my favorite thing. Like, Rose playing Cassandra. Is the best.
I don't not like Billie Piper.
Yeah,
I just
love
don't
Billie
like.
Piper.
I just don't like Rose.
She's super hot, and I think like her interviews as a real person, she's amazing. But the writing for Rose is not good. The one thing that I actually did like is Rose. Every time they encounter someone new on their adventures, she's kind of the first to console them. Like when she's changing, and in the closet, she opens it and she sees this frightened girl, and she was like, "Oh my God, don't worry. Like, I'm here to help you."
She has her moments in every episode,
but she never does that to her mom.
But yeah,
she never does that to Mickey. Like,
well,
she
fuck
picks,
Mickey too.
I know, but still, like, she can't be stringing poor little Mickey along. And just
He's
be like,
he's allowing that to happen to himself though.
I know,
like
but at some point she needs to go up and be like, "I dumped your ass."
Oh, absolutely. She's doing it to him, but he's also sticking around and letting that happen.
But he imprinted on her as like a young child that we saw with the whole thing of going back and visiting her dad, and like, I don't know if humans are like chickens, but for whatever reason Mickey is, which is maybe why he's a coward and a chicken. And
I don't know. Like, I liked Rose when she came back after the Martha season, I think. When the parallel universe crossover with the Cybermen when they brought her back, I liked her in that episode, and then I liked her in the War Doctor episode.
Yeah, because she's not Rose.
Right, but as Rose, I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel that way too. Where I cannot wait. Oh man, and even when she leaves, it's kind of like a really annoying episode for me. But I cannot wait for her departure, because then I feel like Tennant really does stand out. Because rewatching these, like, I did not really like Tennant in the beginning, only because he gives into her so often. It is like, no, I still love you. Let's hold hands, and I care about you. And I'm like, but she done messed you over like multiple times, man.
Just I don't know. Like there are definitely episodes with her in it that I do enjoy.
There's a handful. There's like really, really good moments, but overall, I feel like Rose is a really weak companion. She's like not well written to be empathetic, or to like for you to latch onto. I feel like the companions are like the audience trying to be on this journey with the Doctor.
Right. Because like that's why I like in the new season I like Graham.
Yes.
And
Graham,
what's his son's name?
His grandson.
His grandson.
Ryan.
Ryan? Is that his grandson?
married through marriage.
Through marriage.
Yeah.
Right. So Ryan, I like the two of them because they really are the audience surrogate throughout the entire thing. They're like, okay, we just got thrown into this thing. What's going on?
Yeah, and they're super fun, and I like that. And it's like, I don't know.
Whereas like to me, Rose is just kind of like, I like you, Doctor Who. Can I go with you everywhere?
And that's kind of the thing too, like kind of with like the American version of Doctor Who, and they introduce that kind of like really blatant romance, or it's like, let's make out and hold hands and have this relationship, and I'm like, oh, we don't need more of that. This is
yeah. I don't know.
But I mean, other characters do have that kind of relationship with the Doctor too. Like obviously Clara has that initially, and then when he turns to Capaldi, and it's kind of like,
completely
it's like
changed.
the opposite of Rose. Whereas Rose with Eccleston was kind of like, okay, like kind of flirty, but you're a little bit old for me. And now that he like aged down into Tennant, she's like, well, he's a handsome man. Let's go.
Even with Clara though, like it was sort of one way. I mean, it was more or less one way with Rose too. Even though we knew that the Doctor cared about her, it was kind of different with Clara. She was more of a curiosity to the Doctor.
Well, yeah, because they explained the whole thing about being in timelines. Like, how do I know you? You're the impossible girl. You're the impossible girl. And I feel like it almost borders on kind of like that Twilight mentality. It's like, ooh, I can't read your mind, so you're interesting. And I'm like, oh, this trope is annoying.
Yeah.
But she is so damn cute. I still really like her.
Yeah, like Clara is one of those characters where I didn't like her in the first few episodes, but she grew on me as it went on.
That was me and Donna. Like, her first introduction,
See,
I did not like her.
I was never a fan of Donna.
Oh,
I liked Wilfred better.
Wilfred is amazing. They love Wilfred, and they turned him into Graham. So Graham is like that. And kind of like Sally Sparrow, when we get to it with the Blink episode, that is Amy Pond. So there's certain characters that they know that's like, man, we really wanted to expand on them, and they'll come back. So I don't know. Like Donna, I thought was really annoying in the beginning. Grew to like her, but I think it's because her send off was like super sad.
Yeah, I mean, I liked
oh.
I liked certain episodes
romance.
that she was in.
And
yeah,
no romance with the Doctor.
I liked that.
I
liked Martha. Martha was one of my favorite companions, I think. And then I liked Amy, but I liked Rory more.
Rory is such a sweetheart. But I love Amy because I don't know, and it was one of those things because Blink is one of my favorite episodes.
Well, Blink was a great episode.
Like I only see her as Sally Sparrow, and like even the ending where they have to go back.
Yeah.
And like that's how it ends. Where I'm like, man, Moffat wrote that one episode and is like, you know, I love these characters so much, let's bring them back.
Yeah.
Expand it just a little bit, have like more of a kooky doctor, and have like you know them go on adventures, which is like super interesting. But that's why like getting through these kind of initial episodes with Rose. Are very difficult. Like season 1 was kind of hard. Season 2, it's a little bit better because I like Tennant quite a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not really until Rose leaves that I'm like, I love Doctor Who. So I don't know why they kept her on so long as a companion.
People liked her.
Everyone likes her. She's hot, but
like
as a character, do you genuinely like her as a character? Not as like a pretty face.
I think she's one of those divisive characters where people either really like her or really don't. I know this show, but I never actually watched it.
I've never seen it either, but man, she's just hot. Like, you can't deny it. So.
Yeah, like I saw her at Gallifrey 1 in like 2014 or 2015.
Oh,
and in person, she's super hot, but that's...
But it's just
that being super hot only gets you so far.
It is true, and especially in this... And like some of the things she says is
doesn't get me anywhere.
Yeah, and I don't know, but... I feel like we kind of talked this episode to death. We didn't really have a whole lot to speak of.
I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
It personally, I didn't think the storyline was anything all that great.
I didn't really get what they were trying to do, and I don't know if they actually accomplished their goal or didn't accomplish their goal because like the spirit inside is dead. But
the
they're
only
still werewolves or hemophiliacs. Or
if
whatever.
the only goal of this episode was to set up Torchwood, then they accomplished their goal.
But I feel like you could have done it in such
a better way,
organic way instead of at the end. Let's focus on the Torchwoods. I know, right? Pull out. We're gonna start the Torchwood Institute.
Right. Well, I mean, at the beginning they mentioned that it was Torchwood Manor or whatever. So like immediately going into it,
you knew that it was
I knew that that's what was going on. And again, like I haven't really watched any of these episodes since they first aired.
Same.
I do rewatch shows every once in a while. Like right now, I'm rewatching Deep Space Nine, and I'm almost to the end of that.
Nice.
But I haven't rewatched that since it aired either. So like it's kind of like an interesting thing. knowing what's coming now, because as soon as Torchwood, I was like, oh, I remember this because I know that this was what set up Torchwood.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes these beginning ones a little more fun to rewatch, even though I'm not a big fan of Rose or not a big fan of some of the writing in some of these episodes. But looking for these little
wait, sorry. I gotta cut you off here. Jody is in the audience here. And he says that
Jody?
he says he was cleaning out his car and he found Josh's birthday present from WonderCon.
Huh?
Is it a new car? Because that's
And
like, did you find
like
a
Obama
new
moment?
car inside of your car? Because that would be great.
Or maybe it is a new car, but it's like a Hot Wheels.
Right?
Yeah.
That would not be surprising. Someone in the chat also FORJR says Rose is coming back.
Rose has come back after her departure a couple times.
Yeah. Well, he has an exclamation point. He's not asking.
Oh,
So
yes.
is
Rose
she-
is coming back. So if you like Rose and you're following us on this rewatch or first time, then Rose will come back
Well,
at least for the rest of the season.
Right. Well, I'm a little confused here, so I'm going to ask for clarification. Are you saying that Rose is coming back after she leaves, or are you saying that she's coming back for like the Jodie Whittaker series?
Oh, that would be
like as a
interesting.
guess. Like I guess that could happen.
It could happen.
I haven't seen any news about that, but
If it
I
is-
will look into that.
Oh man.
Um,
Because I do like her, and I like her iterations more than her being Rose herself, because we know what she's in like another dimension at this point.
Right.
So if we can have like another moment or another like maybe bad wolf kind of like apparition of her, that would be super
Yeah.
interesting.
So next week's episode.
Yes.
Well, now it's not going to be next week because we're going to be at
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con. So we will be back, maybe with Daniel instead of me again.
We'll see
You
what's
know,
up.
maybe we'll tag team on and off with these. But the next episode that will be covered on this show is School Reunion, which is the episode where Sarah Jane comes back.
Oh yes, I do
So
remember
that
one.
episode is
That one's
also,
gonna be a really good
and that's
one.
also the setup for another side spin-off series.
Wait, what spin-off was that?
The Sarah Jane
Oh
adventures.
yeah. Oh, obviously. I actually didn't watch that one, so
It was fun. I mean that was more of a kids show than this was.
It's yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I never got into it. It was something that I never really was like super interested in watching because Sarah Jane was like old who, but
Okay, I'm looking at a phone off screen here that says Doctor Who Billy Piper returning as companion Rose Tyler.
woo!
Oh wait. Let me take a look. That looked like it was a Big Finish thing. The British actor will reprise the role of companion Rose Tyler for a new audio series produced by
Oh,
Big
Big
Finish.
Finish.
So
Oh,
it's
she
not
is coming
for
back.
the
So
show.
It's not for the series, but for
it's
the Big
for
Finish,
what,
like
for
the.
the audio dramas.
And those are super interesting, and I'm hoping that if
I
the
haven't
show-
listened to any. Have you?
I haven't either, but I hear like people talking about the stories and how they are, and I hear they're
So
really
maybe-
exceptionally good.
Maybe after we finish with this season, maybe
Yeah.
we'll take a break from the show
Do some
and do
Big
some
Finish.
of the Big Finish stuff.
Oh, that'd be super interesting. If you guys like want to hear about that, like leave us a comment or let us know. This is something really new to us, like Doctor Who. We're just kind of picking up. We're only in the very beginning of the second season, and we haven't really been on super consistently. So tell your Who friends, let them know that we're streaming here live every Sunday, usually around 6 o'clock. But click that notifications button so you can know, because
Please.
I
need a new car.
He's-
So Daniel's in the chat here, and he agrees Sarah Jane Chronicles was more of a kid's show. People didn't really care about it. Matthew Thompson says that he liked Sarah as a companion, and also Daniel says that you should listen to at least one of the Big Finish things.
Well, hopefully we'll listen to all of the Big Finish things.
I think there's a lot of them.
There are. There is a hefty amount, so we
Yeah.
can make that a whole nother companion series. But
Or maybe like in tandem, like go
Yeah.
back and forth.
Fans can recommend them to us.
Oh yeah, that's a good
I like
idea.
that.
So if there is one of the Big Finish audio dramas that you guys really like, that you want to hear one of our opinions on, let us know which one it is, and that's the one that we'll go with.
yeah, maybe we should do a poll in our
We can.
hashtaggers.
Yeah, we can do a poll in hashtaggers, which if you guys want to keep up with everything that hashtag show is doing, my hat's really crooked, and I just noticed that.
It's okay.
I think
You're
the
trying
hat
to
just
be,
might be crooked. I'll
you're
just
trying to be
I'll
a,
just
a
make
hip,
it really
a
crooked.
hip
There we
kid.
go.
I think it's
There we
December.
Yeah. I'll just go like this, and this looks really dumb, so I'm sorry.
But I like it. I feel
So
like you're Steve Buscemi, where it's like they're wearing that like shirt that's like, "Hey, hip kids" or whatever it is.
was that Billy
like-
Madison?
I don't remember, but it says like rock band on his shirt, and
Or is
I
it-
forget what he says. but it's
Yeah, I
something
don't
like,
I don't remember which one that
It's
was.
something really weird, and he's in high school, but it's Steve Buscemi, so he looks like he's like 90 years old.
I don't know. But yeah, so THS hashtaggers, you can find it on Facebook. It's where you can keep up with everything going on with that hashtag show. You can start conversations in there about whatever kind of geek stuff you want.
Yeah, any fandoms, we have so many different members. There will be someone that wants to have that conversation with you.
I'm sure. Or if you want to read any of the news that we put out, any of the articles, any of our reviews on things like the Lion King live action.
The animated but more realistic version of Lion King.
Animated like Toy Story.
Yes.
Yeah. That'll be up on thathashtagshow.com.
Yeah, and Joe went to go to the world premiere.
Joe
which
went to
is
the
super
premiere.
interesting.
I was at a press screening on Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
And spoiler alert, I enjoyed it.
Oh, good. I mean, I feel like if you like the original movies, I feel like you kind of obligated to like the live actions when they're like kind of directly lifted from that, you know? Like Beauty and the Beast, people complain, but I'm like, if you like the original Beauty and the Beast, it's like the same movie, so I kind of like it by default, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, in this movie, there were definitely some departures from the original.
Nice.
Some things I liked better, some things I was like, all right, that's the same.
All right.
But you know, if you want to hear more about what any of us here think, again, check out thathashtagshow.com. If you want to keep up with everything that we're seeing at San Diego Comic-Con at the end of this week, also go to thathashtagshow.com. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. I think I set up a Friendster account for us back in the day.
Wow, Friendster. That was like before MySpace. And I bet none of you even know what MySpace is. Man.
Nope.
You just dated yourself like hardcore, man.
Because this hat isn't doing that enough. There it is. There it is.
Yo.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's his music band, not rock band. But yeah, like
I don't-
this is
Wait,
like
you found the picture. What movie is this from?
31.
Oh, 30 Rock. 30 Rock. This wasn't a movie.
Okay, see, I don't even know what it's from, but I see this meme all the time, and I feel like I really relate to this, but I feel like you're emulating it now, like, hardcore.
Yeah, wait.
How do you do, fellow kids?
There.
I love it.
All right. Anyway, where can we find you on the social media things?
I am LT on Facebook, even though I don't go on very often. You can comment. We can start conversations there, too. And I am also on Instagram as LT.
You can find me at Battlestar Galactica, the best name on the internet. No, that's a lie. It's Vogon Poetry Slam. That is the best name on the internet.
Yeah, but Battlestar Galactica, if you want to follow Daniel, who's also on this show, he's not here this week.
You see him in the chat there.
He's in the chat. But maybe in 2 weeks he'll be back. Hopefully he will. If not, follow him. Follow all of us on all of our social medias. We're going to be at Comic-Con. It's going to be a super fun week. And not next Sunday, but the Sunday after, we'll see you back here, live from Gallifrey.
So, really quick, what are you really excited about at Comic-Con?
There's going to be a Detective Pikachu activation. I'm super excited about
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you saw the movie.
I saw the movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
It was a little disappointing.
All
But
right.
I still love Pokemon, so I'm going to support it 100%.
All right. Well, we will see you guys in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm just going to keep saying this until you turn us off.
All right.
2 weeks.
And until then, you can like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay
2
up to date with everything
weeks.
trending in geek pop culture.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.